It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, Monday edition. Hope you're having a great start to your day. He is Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Joe, what's up?
What's going on? Hey, Dr. Crane, was Rexroad, were they here this morning?
They were.
Okay. Hey, he lowers his seat like he's an extra in Lord of the Rings or something. Those little, small people, midgets, whatever they are, and it's like I can't get comfortable.
I don't think they're called that. I think it's little people.
Little people? Okay. Well, the seat's down so low, so I'm trying to get back up.
I feel like you need a phone book to sit on.
Something, yeah.
Welcome to my everyday
it.
adventure. That's what I have in my backpack. It's a phone book.
Do you really? There goes Rexroad walking down the hall. I should go out and tell him. Get a piece of my mind. What's up, Chaser?
Not much. Not the start that I had thought we'd have on the show, but doing well. A lot to get into. We have brackets to fill out now, as it is finally here. The NCAA tournament will tip off this Thursday. Anybody that goes to work on Thursday and Friday, I don't know why.
Is it the best week of the year?
It might
sports-wise?
It might be.
I think it could be. I mean, I love college football and all that, but my goodness, it'll all start amping up tomorrow night with the playing games, and then Thursday it just hits, and it's fantastic. Simply fantastic.
That's right. I always forget about the playing games, or the first four, as they call them.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Wednesday, they'll have those, and then Thursday and Friday, the round of 64, and then the round of 32, and so on and so forth. And all eyes around here will be on a team from the East that wears orange and white. That absolutely just choked and bleeped their pants against Mississippi State on Friday. Right after our show, that game tipped off. We were going you went over there and watched it. I ended up staying at Pinewood Social and watching some of it. They were never in the game. Absolutely awful. And I went on a show in Kansas City that afternoon.
Look at you.
And then they asked me, so what happened to the Vols? And I just said, Rick Barnes in March. That's what happened to the Vols.
Oh, man. Joe Rexroad's going to come back here and smack you for saying that.
No, I think Joe Rexroad agrees with me on that.
Oh, he's defending Rick Barnes because he went to one Final Four about 45 years ago, and so that makes him a great coach. Now, look, they were terrible, but it plays in the fact that they did not care that they were here because they knew they were in the tournament. And some player last night said, now the real season begins. And I get it. I mean, there's motivation for Mississippi State, and they just took them to the woodshed on Friday. Same for Texas A&M. When they won, they beat Kentucky. So there's a lot that plays into that, and so now Tennessee's got to look forward, and now it is the real season if you want to look at it that way. And you need to perform. This is a very good basketball team that proved it in the regular season. Now you got to get it done. And later on, I'm going to go on a Big Joe is bothered speech later on. This bracket drives me. Some of this drives me crazy. So we'll talk about that.
That's okay. We like it when Big Joe is bothered and has rants for the show.
Not hot and bothered, but just bothered.
Yeah, well,
Dr. Crane, cover your ears.
When you get hot and bothered, you don't call me. So. Do something else. But anyway, so Tennessee, a 2 seed after squandering that. Now, I do wonder if the loss to Mississippi State, if that doesn't turn out to be a good thing, that now they have a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth going into the tournament, a little pissed off for greatness, how it goes. So, are you making?
God, I hate that. I hate that pissed off for greatness.
Why?
I just do. Nobody in the locker room sits there and says that. It just drives me insane.
Ray Lewis says it
because he's great. What do you mean? I take notes during the show, man.
Well, it was just like you're talking to the teacher or something, and like you say something like, "What are you writing down? What did I say that warranted you writing that down?"
Oh man, no, it's good. It's all good. No, it's keep going. That just drives me crazy. But
what is in your mind is it Elite Eight? Is it Final Four or bust for Tennessee?
At some point, you gotta break through the wall, right?
I agree.
And this is a team you got a number 2 seed. You should have done it last year.
Yeah. But
you're out-coached and outplayed by FAU. You got to do it this year. I mean, you have to get there at some point to get to the Final Four. FAU has more Final Fours than University of Tennessee.
That's
San Diego
crazy.
State has more Final Fours Auburn. I mean, it's so hard to get there. But at some point, you have loaded your basketball team. You have to get there. This is a year Tennessee should be able to get to the Final Four. And I think if you're satisfied Sweet 16, then you're just one of those fans who's like, okay, well, we played hard today. We got beat, but we played tough today. I think you got to break through at some point. I think this is the year.
Yeah, I mean, I heard what Robbie and Joe were saying, that if they lose to Purdue in the Elite Eight, then in a close game, like, okay. But I agree. Like, at some point, when does it become, okay, yeah, hey, they're predicted to go to the Final Four, and they actually do it?
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah, so that, to me, I think needs to happen. And we'll see. And look, the region they're in, I think it's certainly possible that they can do that. We'll do a deeper dive on the bracket here in a little bit. Actually, we got one right here. That's convenient. Who did that? Was that Keezer? Was that
I
you?
believe so. It was
Okay.
Keezer. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because I'm going to be honest with you, I barely looked at this, which is great prep for what I do. But obviously knew
Boss
where
man's
Tennessee
got
was.
duties, man. You got stuff to do.
How about this? If Tennessee beats St. Peter's and Texas beats the winner of the playing game, we get the Rick Barnes Bowl between Texas and Tennessee.
Can you imagine? And hypotheticals, I apologize.
Oh, if Texas beats Tennessee.
Oh, my goodness.
Meltdown.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Absolute meltdown.
Beat St. Peter's first and then worry about Texas after that. Don't. We've seen teams now look to that second round game and get beat in the first round. So take care of business against St. Peter's and then move your way on up and then deal with Texas when it's time to deal with Texas.
I agree.
What, do you have a stand? What is this? I mean, you got your pinky out. You're drinking with a straw. I mean,
it's water.
I don't care, though.
Trying
man.
to drink more water.
I like that Pretz cup.
Yeah, they gave me that.
That's fantastic. Why are we trying to drink more water? Did the doctor tell you something?
No, I just need to drink more water.
Okay.
I drink a lot of crap, and so
you do.
So.
I mean, our body is what, 75% water?
Yeah.
So you're just attaboy. Add some electrolytes to that.
There are some in here.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah.
A little magnesium.
Got a little, the little packets, and they're pretty good.
Quick shout out. I want to say shout out, and I tweeted this yesterday to the staff at Bridgestone and the Preds front office staff. That basketball tournament was fantastic. SEC basketball tournament. It was crowded. It was loud. It was clean. It was fun. It was energetic. The energy was there. So shout out to everybody who put in the sports council too as well, who put that tournament together, because it was so well done. And I got to tell you, yesterday, Auburn fans, you pat yourself on the back because it was loud. I mean, it was loud. Florida had no chance. By the emotion of the crowd, Florida was done like in the first half. And I know they had that awful injury. We'll talk about that later on. Just awful injury. But kudos to Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers and everybody that came to support them, because it was fun yesterday inside Bridgestone Arena. And shout out to Bruce Pearl. I mean, it's just he keeps grinding, keeps giving away emotional speech after the game because he was crying and his father passed away and his dad was his biggest fan and he's not there. And so good for Auburn. Now they got to travel by wagon, hit the Oregon Trail. It should take they should get to Spokane sometime in August to play that tournament up there. But that's all part of my rant later on. But kudos to Auburn. You Auburn fans were fantastic on this whole week. You're great, especially yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. I mean, and it ended up, with Kentucky and Tennessee being out, like it kind of gave an opportunity for other fan bases to stick around and enjoy it. So I agree. Was over there a little bit. Kudos to the SEC, to the Predators, to everybody that was involved in that. And now the Predators can have their barn back and finally come back home and be there tomorrow night against San Jose, riding a 14-game point streak after defeating winning their game the other night 4-1. How about that?
I know. And I tweeted this as well. I love patting myself on the back. Imagine if Roman Yossi didn't suck.
I know.
Right? Imagine if he wasn't any, because, he only got 2 goals and played his tail off.
Couldn't get 3. Beat Seattle 4-1.
Yeah, he's terrible this year, man. If you played well, imagine how good this this hockey team would be, sarcasm, to go for. But it's fun, man. Winning is fun, and the Nashville Predators are showing that right now.
Yeah, and look, they've gotten hot at the right time. They've gone on this run, 14-game point streak. Are they blaring U2 on repeat in the locker room? Like, I don't know what's going on. But and not only that, like, check this out. In those 14 games, I think it's now 12 of them. They've scored 4 more goals in those games.
Really?
Yeah, they've had one game during that stretch where it's been less than 3 goals. That was a 2-1 win in Columbus.
Man. Yeah, I heard Hal the other night say a lot of people in Nashville are getting healthy because all the Frosties and everything. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
so
all the food and stuff. I mean, Wendy's is like, well, we didn't plan on losing our ass on this, but this is
Language!
great.
Imagine if Penn Station didn't convert it from the sandwich to just the fries. They might go out of business.
True.
Yeah,
they did. Oh, well. Hey, man,
so,
that's how
look,
it happens.
It has been an awesome run with the Predators, and we'll continue to discuss that. Max Herr is going to join us at 10 o'clock. We'll hit on the Titans with Jonathan Hutton at 10:30. At 9:30, though, another local story, really cool story. The Blue Raiders, the Lady Blue Raiders, and Coach Rick Insel is going to join us at 9:30.
Yeah, they play Louisville on Friday, and once they beat Louisville on Friday, they'll take on Kim Mulkey and LSU on Sunday. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that matchup on there. So he's America's best basketball coach. He'll join us at 9:30 this morning. Great story.
Yeah, so looking forward to talking to Coach Insel. Coming up in just a few minutes, but we'll recap the rest of the weekend, including people have been asking me if I'm going to bring this up. You asked me as soon as I walked in the studio. I'll give you my thoughts on the race from Bristol because I know there's a lot of discussion with that and what happened. I mean, it's got people's attention, that's for sure.
Well, that picture somebody tweeted out, was that all the rubber on the track?
That was the rubber, and I'll explain all of that.
Good Lord, people were losing their mind. Okay.
Live today here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It's the Chase and Big Joe Show presented by Regal Realty Group, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, broadcasting from the Spring Hill Heating and Cooling Game Nashville studios, keeping your home feeling comfortable all year round. One of the greatest rock songs of all time, Life in the Fast Lane. I love it. So the brackets are out. A few of you weighing in on Tennessee. 5772 says, Kentucky hasn't made the Final Four since 2015. Stop complaining for Tennessee not ever making it. It's a hard tournament to win. It's not cut and dry like football.
Whoa, easy.
Okay, clearly not a Tennessee fan. That's fine.
Kentucky fans get upset as well. I mean, they're livid at Calipari.
Oh, yeah.
Livid.
There's a section of Kentucky fans that if they don't make the Final Four this year, they want Cal out.
Oh, they're upset.
And it's been that way. So you're right. It is a hard tournament to win. Nobody's saying that it's not. But when all these prognosticators are constantly saying, well, Rick Barnes in Tennessee, this is the year they're going to make the Final Four, and they don't do it, then what do you expect people to do?
Yeah, right. Are you happy making the second round? Everyone, I know he's been to 3 Sweet 16s, and that's great, but at some point you got to break the fourth wall down and get to that Final Four.
I agree. Glenn from Greenbrier, Cal has been apathetic toward the SEC tournament for years, and his record shows it. This year's seeding for UK and UT proves this.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I see that.
I can see that from Kentucky. I think Tennessee just overestimated Mississippi State. And they shouldn't have, because didn't they lose to them earlier?
No, I think State – did State make the tournament? I don't even know.
They did. They were playing Michigan State.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Oh, you versus D-Mase.
So that's,
yeah, exactly.
Well, you versus Rexroad.
Oh, I got 2v1. I don't like this.
Rexroad cannot go to his left. So you take advantage of him driving to the hoop. Now, Derek Mason, you're done because he's got you every way figured out.
Yeah, you can hit from the outside.
But
I'm going to have to make sure my three-point perimeter shot is there because my 5'5" stature is not getting anything in the paint.
And Nick Keyser's school made the tournament too. The Western Kentucky's in the basketball, so good for them. Yeah, well, good job.
The fist bump.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, well, but I'm with you, man. So the Rick Barnes thing is like, half of them like, well, he's just a nice guy, and he really loves his
He's a nice
players.
guy, but I have been very, very hard on him of just like, you got to do something in March. Like, great regular season coach, but it's time to bleep or get off the pot because they can't do anything in March.
So
I'm tired of that.
Big Orange Caravan will be heading over to can I do my rant real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I am sick and tired of all
We'll throw the grid out.
You basketball fans about complaining where you go in the tournament. Like, well, what, Tennessee, we got to play. We're in the same bracket. How dare you put us in the same bracket with Purdue? How dare Auburn be in the bracket with Connecticut? You're in the tournament. Do you think you're just going to get an easy ride to the Final Four and that's it? Stop complaining where you get sent. It doesn't matter. You're in the tournament. You're in there to play, and you could win and go forward and everything else. Imagine having to go to the NIT and then complaining about that or whatever other tournaments are out there. Stop complaining about where you go and where you were seated and all this other stuff. If you're that good and you're that upset, make a run through the tournament. Stop complaining. I mean, I hear Tennessee fans like, how dare you put us in the bracket with Purdue? And then the Auburn fans, we're in there with Connecticut, and last year 3 of the Final 4 teams are in that. Who cares? That's last year. Stop complaining. Enjoy this ride. If you play Purdue, beat Purdue. Hell, Purdue hasn't been to a Final Four since 1980. Right. And they're ranked number 1 every year just about. Stop complaining. Auburn fans, that's great. You did great. Now you got to go out west. Who cares? Take care of business. That's my little Big Joe's bothered today.
Okay. I agree with you. I'm 100% on board with you on that because people they can't be happy with what they have. It's just like, and here's my honest question too, and I'll just say this to a Tennessee fan. Were you going to go anyway?
Right.
Like if it was down the road in Memphis, would you go?
Right.
Like, would you really are you going to be that invested, or are you just going to sit here and complain that you don't want to travel to wherever they are? Like, I mean, and it's not just them. I mean, it's all fan bases that it's just like, oh, the travel's so hard on them. No, it's not. They travel in style.
Yeah, they get
chartered.
These are
chartered planes. Like that,
You're not waiting at TSA for 2 hours.
No.
You're in and out.
No, you're not 3 deep in an aisle on a Southwest
Right.
flight like you and I would be.
Why was Danny Hurley? He was yelping about UConn. Yeah, he was like, "Well, we got to play. San Diego State's in there, and then they're throwing Auburn, FAU, and the three of the 2 of the Final Four teams, well, 3 of us included, are in this one region. Who cares? Who cares? If you're going to win the tournament, you got to beat these teams anyway. Who cares? Stop complaining." And that goes for all you basketball fans. You're in the tournament. Enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Now you got me upset, and now my head hurts.
No, it's the right thing to be upset about. I get it. So yesterday, you're kind of jumping all over the place.
That's fine.
The race at Bristol. You were asking the rubber pellets. Well, so the Goodyear did a tire test. They brought a tire compound that they knew there was going to be tire wear, but that's kind of what you want at a short track. You got to take care of your tires, right? They didn't anticipate getting 50 laps, and that's about it. And that Bristol was basically, it was like taking the tires through a cheese grater is what there was happening. So all that rubber, they call them marbles, it built up to the top of the racetrack where you didn't have an upper groove. So it was a one-groove track, and you were having to be real creative in how you passed, and whoever had – could take care of their tires is ultimately who won the race. What was interesting to me, and somebody on Twitter pointed out to me, because I tweeted out at the end of the race, 5 cars on the lead lap ain't it. And I realized after I kind of thought about it, and Drew Parker was who tweeted at me, it was an old school race.
What does that mean?
Meaning like – the days of Waltrip and Earnhardt of you got to take care of your stuff. You got to take care of your car. You got to take care of your tires. And if you look at the guys that ended up at the top of the leaderboard, Denny Hamlin ultimately won the race. It was the guys that were the old school veteran, older guys that took care of their car. And so the more I thought about it, and then, thinking back through some of the moments from the race itself, it was actually a pretty good race. Now, I would like to see them get more than 50 laps on a set of tires, but I did like that it wasn't a full fuel run, that, they were having to come in and manage their tires and all that stuff. So
why were people mad?
People are mad because the tires weren't lasting and, Ty Gibbs and their favorite drivers didn't win the race.
Who supplied, and I apologize for my ignorance on this. Goodyear, all right? So did they had no idea this was going to happen going in, or
no? This was a surprise to people. But
to people who designed the tires,
they knew there was going to be tire wear, but they didn't think it would be as quick as it was.
Okay,
I mean you'd get to 50 laps and you're corded, having to go to pit road.
All right. Well, you're a racing guy. I mean, there was. Had it not been for Selection Sunday, this would have been the big story. I mean, people were upset.
But it was fun. It was a fun race. Like I said, Denny Hamlin wins, but Martin Truex was second, Brad Keselowski third. Those are the 3 oldest drivers in the field.
Nice. So where does NASCAR head next?
COTA, Circuit of the Americas down in Austin, Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a new race?
No, it's about the 4th year, I think, 3rd or 4th
There's
year.
a track in Austin?
Yeah, it's a road course.
Oh, okay. I'm not a road course fan.
Yeah. Kind of take or leave them.
What's it for?
I'm the same way.
Okay.
Like they're okay, but I think they got a little carried away with them.
Okay.
Too many of them.
All right. So another ignorant question: will they have different tires this week?
Yes. Okay. They will have. It's still Goodyear, but they'll have a different compound.
Okay. Man, I'm so lost.
You do different compounds for road course, and they actually have a rain tire for road course too. So or a wet tire is what they call it.
Okay.
That has
compound. I mean, the only chemistry I know I learned off Breaking Bad. So I apologize for all that.
That could take you places.
When is Talladega? When's the next big one? When's Talladega?
Talladega is in April, yeah.
Okay.
So it's coming up.
All right. Road course in Austin. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Dega is – so they go to COTA, and then we got a night race at Richmond on Easter Sunday, and then –
oh, they never raced on Easter.
Yeah, they are now. So Easter night.
Talk to the Lord about that.
Richmond. Then they go to Martinsville. Then they go to Texas Motor Speedway. And then Talladega, April 21st.
Richmond is an underrated fun
I like
track.
Richmond, yeah.
Yeah.
Short track. Martinsville is one of the best.
Yeah.
Short track. So the schedule has picked up.
It has picked up. And then leads up until is the race you're doing in Nashville, is that a night race again?
No. It'll be an afternoon race this time.
Okay. It'll only be 1,000 degrees.
Yep.
Did you have to wear you wore all black last year, didn't you?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Real quick, let's Daryl wants to weigh in on March Madness. Daryl, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not much.
Excited. Love March Madness. There's nothing like it. I'm a South Carolina Gamecock grad, and we don't worry about our girls. They're where they always are. But our guys, we won 11 games last year, and we weren't even expected. I mean, we finished tied for second, lost a fifth flight to Tennessee for the SEC regular season championship, and that's what it's all about. Is we're just happy to be there. So if it's Tennessee or Auburn or whoever, just be happy you're in the tournament. I mean, because you never know what's going to happen, and it's so wide open this year. We don't want to play Auburn again since they beat us by 40 in the regular season and 31 in the SEC tournament. Woo. But we're just ecstatic to be there. We're excited, and you don't know what's going to happen. And best thing going in sports. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
you,
Daryl. That was yeah, I didn't know they beat him by 40 in the regular season. I mean, Auburn just pushed Florida around, but yeah, again, Florida's one of their top players. Had that awful injury on the court that, I mean, when they don't show the replay,
yeah,
and it was bad. So I think he had surgery at Vanderbilt last night, and the last report I got seems to be doing well.
Coming up next, the Lady Raiders, the Blue Raiders, Rick Insel, legendary basketball coach with them, is going to join us as they have punched their ticket to the tournament. Once again, we will talk to Coach Insel. Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. The madness is here. The men's and women's tournament gets underway this weekend, but all eyes will be on MTSU and the Blue Raiders as they take on Louisville coming up on Friday.
Correct.
At 12:30. We say hello to their head coach, Rick Insel, who's on the line with us now. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Super. How y'all?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. Congratulations on once again making the tournament. But I got to tell you, Coach, 29-4, go undefeated in your conference, and they only give you an 11 seed. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm kind of mad for you.
Well, there's a lot of things that goes into. I've been to those little sit downs that they have to kind of familiarize you with what goes on, and what they look at a lot of times is the geography. What's close, what your fans can get to, and sometimes they can move you. They can move you from a 9 to an 11, or from a 5 to a 7, or a 7 down to a 5, or whatever. So, I'm not for sure that we were 11, that we could have been closer. We could have been more of a 9 or a 10 maybe, and then they moved us because it was convenient for our fans to get to Baton Rouge than it was to maybe go to Los Angeles or out on the West Coast. No.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But do you use seeding as motivation when you're talking to your team?
Not really, because you got 64 of the best teams in the country is what you're looking at, and so not really, But I'll tell you what, I'm not beyond using anything.
We're talking to MTSU women's basketball coach Rick Insel this morning. Coach, it's so good to hear your voice. I'm so proud of your success. We talk about the great run you had in the regular season, now in the tournament, but you always need that little engine to get you going. And Savannah Wheeler, my goodness, what a great basketball player. She just takes everything to the next level, doesn't she?
Well, she's a special individual. I mean, she's not but about 5'5". They've listed her 5'6", maybe 5'7". She's probably pushing 5'4". But I tell you what she is. She's a ball of dynamite. I mean, she's a competitor. She's a winner, and she's been that way her whole life. When she was at Marshall, she was tough for us to defend when she was there. And then when she went into the portal, and we were able to get her to Middle Tennessee. She scored over 1,000 points here in her 2 years at Middle Tennessee. So, she's a scoring machine. But more than anything, she's just a winner. If she's having a bad day, then she's gonna get 8 or 9 assists, or she's gonna get 4 to 5 steals. She's gonna do something to impact your winning on that stat sheet.
What was it like last night gathering? Because I know a lot of your fans went down to Huntsville and cheered you guys on. I saw the football team down there cheering you on last night with the celebration. What was it like, Coach, to see all that support you get every single year, but to especially see it in a brand new environment down in Huntsville, and then last night at the Boulevard when you guys watch a selection show?
Well, that was my 20th time, I guess, to be in the conference tournament, and I don't know that we've ever had as many fans at a game at a conference tournament than we had this year. I mean, even on our first game on Wednesday, we filled up half of the stadium. Then our next game on Friday, the lower part was totally full with nothing but Blue Raider fans. And then on Saturday, it was unbelievable. When they opened the doors, we were already out there going through our shoot around. And you saw 60 and 70-year-old men sprinting to their seats. And I'm thinking, good, because I'm 72, and I'm thinking I couldn't be doing, even if they wanted me to, I couldn't be doing that. But it was amazing, and they were this team is so invested in our community, and our community is so invested in this team. And when I say that, it's just like the last game that we had here, senior night. We probably had 2,000 people on the main floor after we got through recognizing our seniors, and then us winning the conference for the conference championship. There's probably 2,000 people on the floor. And Saturday, they like to never got everybody off the floor so they could start the next game. Of course, Western was hacked off about that because they were in the next game, and that just tickled the hell out of me.
Coach Rick Insel is with us, women's basketball coach at MTSU. They'll take on Louisville on Friday. Coach, I know you've had a lot of fun coaching at middle, but has it added an extra element being able to coach with your son, Matt?
It has. It has. I mean, it's not many people get to do what I get to do. I get to spend the latter part of my life on the bench doing what I have a passion for, which is coaching and working with young people, and then to have my son working side by side with me. I don't know that you can get any better than that, to be honest with you. It's now we don't always get along. Now we got two different philosophies, but I will tell you this: Saturday I wanted to go to a different offense, and he said, "Nope, we don't need to do that, Dad." And I said, "Well, I'm thinking we might." He said, "Nope." Well, I said, "All right, I'm gonna let you pull this." So, and then what he was saying, we need to go to Tamia Scott, which she just put the team on her back and just absolutely was dominant for about 6 or 7 minutes there. It was unbelievable.
We're talking to MTSU head basketball coach Rick Insel this morning on the Chase and Big Joe Show. All right, Coach, now we head to Baton Rouge this week. You got taking Louisville. LSU awaits. How do you get your guys focused on just Louisville and not think about, my goodness, LSU, if we win, that's our next game? That's got to be kind of a let's focus on the game in hand, right, and not worry about anything else?
Well, like I said, this team is pretty special. They stay pretty focused on who we're going to play. Most people was telling us last week it's hard to beat a team 3 times. And I had to sell to my team that I've been in this situation a bunch in my 48 years, because sometimes I had to beat people 5 times in high school. So, I said, you can't buy into that. It's another team. We know what they're going to do. If anything, we got the advantage because we know what they're going to do. Now, as far as going down, we had played Louisville last year, and we beat Louisville here 18 last year and probably could have won by 30, to be honest with you. But Jeff's a great coach. He's a good friend of mine, a good friend of Matt's. He knows that he came in here last year and didn't play well, and we were able to win. So I promise you he'll be ready. And then after that game, then we'll look what's going on with LSU. But we're not afraid of LSU. We're not afraid of South Carolina. We're not afraid of anybody, to be honest with you. If you brought our girls in right now and talked to them, they'll tell you that it matters not who we're going to play.
I love it. Coach, there's a great article by Sam Doughton and GoBlueRaiders.com about your basketball team and all the different parts that make it go. But I really like the part about Tamia Scott that he writes in the article about her. She represents everything the program prides itself on. Why is that young lady so special to you, Coach?
Well, I thought she was the best player in the state when I recruited her. And a lot of people didn't think that. Well, I won't say a lot of people. I'll say there were some people that overlooked her and thought, well, that she in travel team ball, she kind of come off the bench there too. And then last year we got her in, and her dad and mom, she comes from a great family. And I just told them to be patient, believe in me, trust me, things are going to work out. I don't think there's any doubt now that 2 years from now she's going to be a WNBA draft choice. She's got length, she's got size, she's got quickness, she's got basketball IQ. She's got everything it takes to do whatever she wants in the game of basketball. And now she's just got to go to work, and she started doing that, and she's coming into her own right now. She's going to be the face of the program, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And we're just proud to have her. But that's part of the process, Joe, that you got to go through. You can't come in. Everybody that comes in here was an all-star, in some cases an All-American on their high school team. And, you're not playing along. You're playing alongside other young ladies that were the best player on their high school team. So very few people get to come in and start right off the bat. Very few. But, when you do, you consider yourself lucky and take it from there. So she went to work. She's earned everything she's got.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck against Louisville and in the tournament, and we'll certainly be talking to you soon.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you, and, go blue.
Go blue, exactly.
See you,
Thanks, Coach.
All right, see y'all.
Coach Rick Insel joining us here on the show, women's basketball coach at MTSU, an absolute legend.
Right, wouldn't it be so great they knock off Louisville and beat LSU? I mean, it would just be I know the odds are stacked against, but who cares, man? Like we talked earlier, here's a coach. He's not complaining. They're in the tournament. Anything can happen once you get in the tournament, and so good for them. We'll be rooting them on Friday, 12:30. The Lady Raiders taking Louisville down in Baton Rouge and hopefully dispose of them and then move their way on to take on LSU.
It is Chase and Joe's alma mater versus Jared Stillman's.
And Dr. Crane.
And Dr. Crane, yeah, that's
The
right.
three of us could take him down in a second.
Oh, 100%.
Well done there. So
100%.
that'll be – I love his line too, man. It took so long. So many fans went down, cheered after the game, celebrating that Western Kentucky was irked that they were still in the court, and that tickled the hell out of him. That just makes me laugh. So thank you, Coach.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Up next, Predators on a 14-game point streak, including a 4-1 win in Seattle on Saturday night. We'll talk more about that coming up next here on the Chase and Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. All right, it is a big week, and I'm sure you're going to want to do a little wagering coming up this weekend. ESPN Bet, that's the place to go. It's live in Tennessee. It's the official sports book of ESPN, and ESPN Bet is the only place to find daily exclusives and offers with your favorite ESPN personalities and shows. So sign up today. New users will get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. Find all your favorite markets and bets like in-game wagering, cross-sport parlays, teasers, and, of course, all the props you can handle. I love props. That's ESPN Bet. Download today. What a play. You must be 21 years or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. The teams have been selected, so go to theGameNashville.com/bracket challenge and fill out your bracket to compete. The 102.5 The Game Bracket Challenge is brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook, Twin Peaks, and Volunteer Hose and Gasket. So make sure you check that out. A lot of prizes, including the grand prize, a 4-day pass to Bonnaroo. How about that?
Not bad.
Not bad at all, for sure. So we'll be filling our brackets out. Don't worry.
How many do you fill out?
I just do one.
I do like 40.
Yeah. I don't care that much, so I just do the one.
Okay. And here's the thing. I don't care about your bracket, but I care about mine. So
Sure.
I'd like to talk about my bracket.
Yeah.
So kind of you to say, Joe.
It's like fantasy. Nobody cares about your fantasy team except for you.
Fantasy football drives me insane. When I hear radio shows talk about fantasy football, I just want to drive my car through a wall. And I have close a few times doing that. But no, the bracket's fun, and people give you grief like, why did you fill out 40? Who are you, the bracket police? I can fill out 70 if I want. Who cares?
Because
I'll take damn credit when I hit one of those 70.
once again, it's just people having to complain
Right.
because they want to complain.
I'll fill out our bracket here. Am I allowed to fill a bracket here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Some you're not. Yeah.
You can't win, but yeah, I mean.
I tell you a funny story one time. Not really funny for this one guy, but there's a TV station here in the state of Tennessee that did a bracket because those things, remember Rick Neuheisel got fired for doing a bracket.
Yeah.
And then so this one guy went over the loudspeaker at work. He worked at a TV station in the state of Tennessee and said, hey, I need all your money for the brackets by Thursday at 10 or whatever. He got fired.
Oh, no.
GM came down and said gambling is illegal, and he was fired.
Oh, that's tough.
Over the PA, I need all your money.
Probably
for
not the
bracket.
wisest move there.
Yeah, right. I get it, but at the same time, I mean, you could have that conversation. Say, what are you doing? Don't do it over the PA. But he got fired. As we often say, that's probably not the reason.
Yeah,
he got
that was
fired.
pretty. Yeah, they probably
There
just.
were other things that happened, and that was one. Like, all right, we're good with that. But
It's the old analogy of you just handed them the loaded pistol.
yeah,
essentially.
there you go, and I'll be on my way. And so that was it.
The Predators continue to roll. Philip Forsberg now leads the team by a lot with 35 goals, 71 points. But Roman Josi behind him in points, 67. He scored 2 the other night. What was crazy about that game, it was 1-0 after 1. No goals in the second period. So going into the third period, Predators had a 1-0 lead. Seattle ties it up at 1, and then Josi scores 2 goals pretty quick together. Goes up 3-1. Philip gets the empty netter, and they end up winning 4-1.
I would have been this is how sad I am. If they'd have lost, I'd been like, okay. I mean, they've played hard. They've played tough, and they're going to run that wall. But I was listening to Pete and everybody on the call, and then and I was like, goodness, because I heard that, and it's like, oh, yeah, they scored again. They scored again. I was like, this is fantastic. It's a lot of fun, but I hate the way of thinking like, well, okay, if they lose to Seattle, it's okay because they've played really well, but I'm glad the team didn't say, let's think what Big Joe's talking about right now. Went out and kicked some ass, and now they take on San Jose tomorrow night at home.
They do, and, look, San Jose has 39 points. They're the worst team
Thanks.
in the National Hockey League right now.
Just jinxed him.
Don't
you hate that too?
I know. It's like, no, I'm not.
You're just telling us
I was
what it
actually
is.
about to say that's where I think coaching is very, very important because it's like, don't get complacent.
Right.
You're on home ice. You've been gone for 4 games. Come in there and beat the crap out of them.
I agree. Now, let me ask you this. Does the Florida game Thursday, is that a test of how good this hockey team, good the Predators, because Florida's got the most points, right, in the NHL? I think they do.
Yeah.
What will this game tell us Thursday? What do you want to find about this hockey team going in Thursday night?
Where they stack up against the upper echelon teams. I think that's a measuring stick game. Right now, Boston actually has 1 more point than Florida. So Boston is the leader in the clubhouse, and the Rangers also have 94 points. So Panthers and Rangers tied at 94 with Boston at 95 over there in the East. But it's what I like to call a measuring stick game for sure to see where you stack up. But the 14-game point streak is phenomenal. I believe 15 is the franchise the most the franchise has ever had, so they'd be able to tie that with a win tomorrow night. But they got themselves in a good spot, the first wild card spot right now. and they have a 3-point lead over the Vegas Golden Knights in that second spot. And then St. Louis and Minnesota and Calgary. I'd say more St. Louis and Minnesota within striking distance of that second wildcard spot. So they're in a very good spot when being in the playoffs.
Good. Again, are they going to complain about where they're in the playoffs?
No,
they're in, and anything can happen. As we saw, we're going to bring this up a lot in the rest of this Nashville Predators franchise history of 2017, because if you seeded it back then 1 through 16 instead of 1 through 8 in each conference, they were 16. They had the lowest points, right, going into 2017, and then did the most damage all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So good for them, and they're just playing fantastic. And it's funny because if you look at the 180 of this, had they lost 9 straight, I mean, it'd have been a fire sale. Heck, they might have moved the franchise to Hamilton. So it's good. They went on this heater, man, and they're winning these games. And now people are so fired up about getting to April and getting to the playoffs. But let's finish out the regular season first.
Yeah, it's just crazy. They have the best streak going in the National Hockey League right now at 8-0-2 in their last 10, but 14-game point streak. They've won 2 in a row. I mean, the only losses were a couple OTs, and that's it.
How dare you say losses? Because when I look at the record, it's 12-0-3.
Well,
that's something else that drives me a little crazy. I mean, you lost the game, right? I mean, you lost, but you got points. You went to overtime.
That was the compromise for getting rid of ties. Because I hate ties. Ties should not exist in pro sports.
What about a wins or not? You like that?
Windsors are good. That's fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ties are not good. I'm not a fan of a tie either. Because college football did it forever. Pros still have it.
You're a fan of Ty Chandler.
Big fan of Ty Chandler, and you're a fan of Ty Herndon, the country music singer.
Yeah. Ty Gibbs is okay.
A lot of ties. You
know any ties? There,
I
Dr.
do.
Herndon?
My buddy Tyler is a police officer in Hendersonville. So yeah,
what's up?
Big
Okay.
Tyler.
Does he go by Ty?
Some people do. Yeah,
Okay.
I just call him Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, Tyler?
What's up, Tyler?
Appreciate all you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's the most famous? Like Ty Cobb, but he was an ass. Nobody likes Ty Cobb. Ty Chandler.
You got stiff armed by him in high school.
By the way,
Ty Chandler.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, he was. Hey, we used to say on the Game Blitz, Friday is tie day.
Yeah. Right.
It was tie day.
Oh yeah, he was legit at NBA. So this came up during the race yesterday. Josh Berry from Hendersonville was leading some laps at Bristol, and Kevin Harvick and Mike Joy and Clint Boyer were talking about him, and Mike Joy mentions that Taylor Swift, Josh Berry, and Joseph Newgarden were all from Hendersonville,
right?
And Boyer goes, "Wait a minute, you mean to tell me that Josh and Joseph let some football player end up with her and not one of them?" I thought that was awesome.
Didn't they say they all went to high school together?
They did, but I think Joseph was homeschooled.
He was.
Yeah,
and didn't he graduate from Pope John Paul at the end or something like that? Yeah, as well.
I don't know if he ever went to Hendersonville High.
And then I this is secondary to that, but that famous rapper DJ Diplo. You heard of Diplo?
Yeah.
Sure.
He went to Hendersonville High. I mean,
he's got like 6 million followers. He's like internationally famous. I mean, like a big time rapper.
Duplo or Diplo?
Diplo.
Diplo.
I've
probably heard of him, yeah.
Okay, probably heard of him.
I just look up some music.
Can we agree that the most famous person to go to Hendersonville High is Robbie Stanley?
1 and 1A. Zach Curtis is 1A.
Okay, yeah.
Robbie's number 1.
Yeah.
And then it would be
and they're buddies.
Yeah.
So.
Then it would be Taylor Swift, although she didn't graduate. That's okay though.
Yeah. She went there.
Yeah, you claim like The Rock went to McGavick for 6 weeks.
You claim him more than anything.
He's an alumni to me, man. And I know he went to Glencliff for a week, but Glencliff you cannot claim him because we claimed him at McGavick. So he's The Rock is.
He was in Memphis on Friday night.
He was. Why don't you go down there and see him?
I thought about it. And I wish I had after watching the promo. He brought Hollywood rock music back, and he did the rock concert, and it was hilarious. And even had a little jab at Ja Morant, which was funny.
What did he say? It was about a gun?
It was about, yeah.
Okay.
It was about the gun. So,
right.
I mean, look, their Rock is playing this heel character right now, but he's so good at it that everybody cheers for him.
Okay.
Like it's one of those things.
He's larger than life. It's
amazing.
weird he's made this arc in his career now because I think the movie thing is. I think people got a little burnt.
But
out
you know,
on him.
but you know what he's proven to everybody. He's like Garth Brooks, could step away for 10 years and then walk right back in and pick up where he left off.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Like, there's not many people that can do that.
I mean, Garth took years off.
Garth retired to raise his daughters,
right?
Which was very noble
Admirable.
and everybody admirable. And then once the youngest one graduated, he decides, okay, I'm going to do this world tour, and literally picks up where he left off.
Absolutely. He's also using the same beard dye company that Ryan Day uses at Ohio State. I mean, there's no way.
Did you see that Garth got a sleeve too?
Did he?
Yeah, he's like tatted up now.
Good for him. There's no way at 62 he had. I mean, that there should be a lot of gray in that. Good for him though. I'd do it too if I could.
I also still can't get over that he's 62.
I was about to say, he looks like he's in his mid-50s.
Yeah.
62.
Early 50s.
You sounded very Irish right then.
Sorry. It was
62.
St. Patty's Day yesterday, Lottie.
It was. Coming up next, we'll continue the Preds talk with our man Max Hers. He will join the show next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game on this Monday. Predators continue a 14-game point streak. They'll look to extend that tomorrow when they're back home taking on the San Jose Sharks. We say hello now to Max Hers, who does pre- and post-game and intermissions, except for Saturday when I filled in for him. I think he had some speaking engagements or something. Max, what's up?
Yeah, I was speaking to Joe. What's the name of the Rotary Club you're in?
I'm sorry, the Mark Driscoll Rotary Club.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Well, it's been a good few weeks for the Predators, but let's start with the news that just came out. They have recalled defenseman Mark Del Gaizo from the Milwaukee Admirals. We saw him earlier this year. Obviously, they've been bit by a bit of the injury bug when it comes to defense, with both Stastny and Fabro out week to week. So they're able to use one of their call-ups and bring Del Gaizo back to the big club.
Yeah, Del Gaizo is Del Baxo, but we're not quite sure exactly why Chase. Sorry, I had to get that in. I've been sitting on one for months. We had a lot of fun with those back in November when he made his NHL debut. But he's back. There was not an evident injury on defense in the last game. Everybody finished out the game, but maybe there was something along the way. Maybe they just want a seventh defenseman. I thought that Tyson Barrie played well in that game, and his return to the lineup, he did everything you could ask him to do since he hadn't been in the game in 4 weeks. So not sure exactly why he's here, and I will say that seriously and not put a pun on it this time, but the Preds are about to practice at Centennial. I'm sitting here right now. It's an optional practice, so we probably won't know the full extent of roster stuff if somebody is hurt. But he's here. He played very, very well in his first 9 NHL games back in November for the Preds, and it's somebody they trust and it's somebody they like. And if he's playing starting tomorrow, he'll be getting in some important late-season games.
Max Hers is with us. So obviously everybody's been impressed with the 14-game point streak. But I think what's really stood out to me, Max, is the number of goals that they're putting up. I believe it's 12 or 12 of the 14. They've had 4 more goals. They've only had a handful of games where they've been under that, and only one game where they've had scored under 3 goals, and that was a 2-1 win against Columbus. And a lot of those goals, Max, have come in the third period. So what do you attribute that to, that they're able to find that firepower, especially late in games?
Yeah, I agree with you, Chase, that may be the most impressive thing. The 2-1 win in Columbus, of the 12 wins in the 12-0-2 stretch, that was the only 1-goal win. All 11 of the other wins have been by 2 goals or more. And some of them were because of empty netters, which is fine because you got to hit your empty netters to win games. So those all count the same to me. But no, it's been unbelievable to see. It was the top line doing all the scoring for most of the season. Now they've got Roman Josi in with them. They've got other defensemen scoring, and they've got all 4 lines producing goals as well. So that's been the big difference. It's not like the top line has stopped producing either. So,
hey, Max, how's it going, buddy?
Hi, Joe. I just got yelled at by Sebastian Bordelot for being too nice about the team in my interview.
Oh, wow. Put him on the phone. Nobody talks to Max that way. Max, the Preds have the high and low this week. Tuesday, they face one of the worst teams in hockey in San Jose. Thursday, they play one of the best teams in the Florida Panthers. If you're Andrew Burnett, and you're not, what's the approach you take to these 2 games? Because it truly is a 180 in who you're facing.
Yeah, thank you for pointing out that I'm not the head coach of the team, first of all. I wouldn't want anybody to get confused. But, no, the Sharks are awful. They are really, really bad. And during the stretch where the Preds are 12-0-2, which is really, really good, the Sharks are 1-11-2. And the Preds have already beaten the Sharks once during this streak. Sharks played well in that game, I thought. Mikhail Granlund is going to be back as a visiting player for the first time tomorrow. He's the best player on their team, both in terms of points and the eye test right now. Sharks were already here at the beginning of the season, but Granlund was hurt in that game. So, he's going to be motivated in his first game back since being traded away. It's a team with guys fighting for NHL spots in the future. There are a couple other Preds connections as well. I just shouted out Sebastian Bordelot, who's right here. He's an assistant coach for the Preds. He's an original Pred. His son, Thomas Bordelot, is on the Sharks. and was actually a healthy scratch the first time they played here this season. So he wants to play well with his dad on the other bench, so that'll be a lot of fun. And potentially also former Preds minor league goalie Devin Cooley could be in. He made his NHL debut for the Sharks last night in their loss to the Blackhawks. So suffice to say, there are some individuals with a lot of reason to be motivated. They're 0-4 on their current road trip, which ends tomorrow. They're last in the NHL. They just lost to the second-to-last place team in the NHL. Have I convinced you that they're not very good? But I think I answered the question.
But we've seen this before where a team comes in playing awful, and they're in the last game of the road trip, and they beat the Preds. So if I'm Andrew, are you sneezing? What is that?
No, I'm at the hockey practice. They're shooting hockey pucks.
All right, see if they can hit you. Hey, so if I'm Andrew Burnett tomorrow night, Max, I'm treating San Jose like they're the best hockey team has ever played. Just for the simple fact of you should put this bad team away and put them away quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the talking point going into the previous game against them, which I guess now was 3 weeks ago in San Jose. But that was the trip with the Vegas travel plan change. And the trip ended in San Jose and Anaheim back-to-back against teams at the bottom of the table after they'd beaten 3 teams ahead of them in the playoff standings to start the week. And that was what they were talking about. These games aren't going to be pretty. You got to grind it out. You got to find a way to sweep a back-to-back against bad teams, and they did it. Neither game was easy, but they found a way to win both. And I think this is a similar mentality because, like you guys said in the last segment, it's the first home game back after a long road trip, which is tough on the home team, especially to get going.
I know they have to take San Jose first, but this Florida game on Thursday, how big of a game is this, Max, to show how well the Nashville Predators have played, how good this team is now heading into the final 13, 14 games of the season?
Yeah, it's massive. And, I mean, we're talking about the personal connections with the Sharks. That'll be Andrew Burnett's first regular season game back in Florida as an NHL head coach since they decided that they didn't want to remove his interim tag 2 seasons ago. So that's a money on the board game, first of all, which will be a lot of fun. The Preds will be motivated for that one. And, Joe, since you said that nobody cares about my bracket, I'll tell you that if I was finishing up an NHL playoff bracket right now, if the playoffs started today, I'd have the Panthers probably winning the Stanley Cup. They are incredible. They are clicking at the right time, just like the Preds are, but they've been doing it all year. They're kind of like the Preds in 2018. They were the surprise team to get to the final last year, and now this year they are hoping to win the President's Trophy, and they are every bit as good as their record would suggest.
Max Hers is with us, Predators in action tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. You mentioned Andrew Burnett, and I'll throw Roman Josi into this too. With this stretch, and I think Josi probably should have been in the discussion even before this, but are they now? Are we talking awards, at least, being in the finalists category when it comes to the Jack Adams for best coach and the Norris for best defenseman?
I really hope that at least one of them will be a finalist. That's a good way to phrase the question, actually, Chase, because I hadn't thought about it that way. But I just hope people hadn't made their minds up, especially about the Norris. I think Bruno is more likely to be in the top 3 for Jack Adams than Josi is for Norris. Not because either is more deserving than the other, but that's just how I think the voting will go. I think Vancouver will win both of those awards. I think Quinn Hughes will win the Norris because people made their minds up on that in November, which was justified at the time because Josi was not playing well and Makar was hurt for a bit. And I mean, Adam Fox has been solid, but Quinn Hughes has been the breakout star. And I just hope people are going to look at it with fresh eyes and look at how great Josi was in crunch time to bring the team up to the level that they're at now. But I think, unfortunately, it's probably been set in all the Canadian voters' heads that Quinn Hughes will win the Norris and Rick Tocchet will win the Jack Adams. But, I think at least one of those Preds will be a finalist. I really hope so, at least. They both deserve it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Max, enjoy practice, and we'll see you tomorrow night at Bridgestone.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Joe, I'll talk to you at the insert random quarterback here Rotary meeting later this week.
Mark Driscoll. They better get it right.
No, this is a different club.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
PAI?
Yes. Thank you, Max.
Appreciate
it. Max Hurst, pre- and post-host for the Predators Radio Network, joining us here on the show. We'll get back into some NFL. there was a pretty big trade over the weekend involving
You call
the
that a
quarterback.
trade? I call it a giveaway.
Yeah, it might have been a giveaway. I don't know. But an interesting one nonetheless. We'll discuss that and what the Titans have done or not done, what's next for them when it comes to improving their football team. Here on the Chase and Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This from what I believe to be the second best Rocky movie. Rocky
what's
4.
number one?
Rocky.
Okay. By the way, Rocky, I know we'll get into a thing here in a second.
He dies.
Rocky is not a sports movie. It's one of the greatest love story movies ever made.
We can argue about this all you want. I mean, I think it's both, but
the original Rocky is a love story.
A love story.
Absolutely.
Joe, of all things, you say a love story.
I know
100%.
I know where he was
Rocky.
going with this. Like, this has been documented that it was kind of written that way, but it can be both.
He's just a boxer. I mean, that's what it is, but it's a love story about him and Adrian. I mean,
Put a percentage on it. Out of between a love story and a sports movie.
80-20 love story.
Really?
I mean, look, why does he box?
Very
for
true.
her. I mean, he boxes for her because he falls in love with her. So it's okay. But now Rocky 2, 3, and 4, I mean, they're fantastic. Rocky 3 to me is just – and Rocky 2, when Mick is in that coma and wakes up and whispers in Rock's ear and tells him to go win, I mean, come on. I get goosebumps. And Rocky –
no, that's Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 is when he has the argument with Apollo. And Apollo's, there is no tomorrow, and then tells him, get his act together. And then he beats him on the beach. And then
Mickey dies in 3, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
After
because I think
Clubber Lang gives him a heart attack.
Didn't Burgess Meredith actually die?
At some point. Yeah, he did. In real life, at some point he did.
Also, not only is he known for Mickey, also known for
Batman. The
Penguin.
The Penguin, that's right.
That is correct. So what did you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers? They have now completely changed their quarterback room. They've signed Russell Wilson, and they have traded for Justin Fields. So there is a, if you're watching on the stream, competition. I'm doing the
Tomlin
quotes.
Called Russell Wilson and
said you're the guy.
And then called Justin Fields and said, yeah,
it's a competition.
You have to fight for your position. Look, I think this is all part of a reality show. We're getting punked because it's so bizarre what's going on there. I mean, they have 2 quarterbacks they're paying $4.5 million to. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the money allotted to him. So what if Russell Wilson comes out and and plays decently like a Russell Wilson did when he was in Seattle? I don't think it'll happen. I think it's run its course. I think he's weird now. Did you see somebody put a tweet out and said, as a Steeler fan said, I can't wait till Russell leads the Steelers to victory, and he tweets out, Steel got it, but S-T-E-E-L.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's exactly it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, Justin Fields is basically picked up at Goodwill.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. And so, anyway, Pittsburgh got him to get Russell Wilson, a backup quarterback, and just go forward from there. But I just thought it was really weird, man.
I was seeing, too, that people were saying that Pittsburgh and Arthur Smith may try and use Justin Fields as kind of a gadget player and, kind of like a Taysom Hill type player. I mean, look, he's got legs. He can run. So, I mean, if they ended up doing that, then that may not be the worst thing in the world. But this is going to be Russ's team until it's not.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree.
And I think Russ can cook in that offense. I really do. I think with Arthur Smith calling the plays and designing that offense, I think Russ can cook.
All right, we'll see. I mean, you're a minority in all this, I think. But
no, but like everybody says, like it was a disaster this year in Denver. It really wasn't. Like if you go and look at the whole year, they had a turnaround, and Russell's numbers weren't bad. They benched him because of the contract, not because of how he was playing.
Right? Yeah.
They knew they were out of it, so they benched him.
Smart.
Because they didn't want to get him hurt because of the contract.
Yeah, and then now they're paying him all this money,
right? All
that, and hate it that the heir to the Walmart throne's got to pay all that money out to Russell. Good for Russell Wilson, man. Just get that money and go on there. But I was shocked the Bears just kind of like, here you go, give us a 6th rounder. So the Bears got the 1st and the 9th, right? Is that the picks they've got in the draft?
Yes.
And Caleb Williams, has this been, I mean, like he doesn't want to go there and want to play for, I mean, so I still think they're going to do something. I don't think they'll keep the number 1 pick, and if Caleb Williams is still kind of adamant about not being part of that, then we'll see. It's all set up being interesting April 25th when the draft hits.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the draft. Like I am fired up for, now that free agency, the first wave of free agency has happened. Like I'm ready for the draft. I'm tired of talking about it. We still got a month to go. Still some pro days and everything to go through, and the team visits and all of that. But and I think that Rand Carthon and the Titans, they certainly made big gains in free agency, but there's still things that they got to do. I'm really worried about the defensive line because they have Jeffrey Simmons, and that's about it. And everybody they had targeted ended up signing elsewhere.
Oh, that's 15 yards and review the play, man. Should be
that's only in college. So
be targeting guys. Like
still need help at corner. Inside linebacker, they still need help at that, but I think they can get that figured out with some of the guys that are available. But obviously still work to do for the Titans and Rand Carthon.
Yeah, there is, and they'll sign a few guys here and there and go forward. But that defensive line now is the concern, is the absolute concern, because now you got his Jeffrey Simmons, and unless you're switching to a 3-4, you're going to need some more players on the defensive line. But they got a plan, and they went out and they took care of some of the needs for the Titans did, and so they're just let them see what they do and have a little confidence that they'll get it done. And now if you go into July and you're still in this situation with not many defensive linemen, then that's a massive problem. But I would just chill right now until you get to that point.
They are down. They have one less offensive lineman because they released Andre Dillard on Friday, and I think fans rejoiced when that happened.
I think a lot of fans will show up to help him move.
Yeah,
be like, okay, take care. They still have money too.
He? You saw somebody at the airport on Friday.
I did see him.
Did you see Andre Dillard with him?
I did not see him. I saw what was funny. I saw Mike Vrabel at the airport on Friday. And if you leave the airport and you go down to catch an Uber, you know that it's crowded down in that garage number 2 area. But Vrabel, he just basically bullied his way through the crowd to like zone 2 to catch his Uber. Didn't stop. I mean, it was just watching a fullback go through this, man. I just was laughing.
Were people trying to talk to him?
No. I mean, he had his head down. I just noticed him because I looked up and I saw this guy just kind of huge guy walking fast through this crowd, and everybody was like stopping because the cars were coming through. Not Vrabel, man.
He's like, get me out of here.
He just barreled his way on through, and I was told he's coming back from his house in Utah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
He was at a Jazz game
last
week.
Game. That's right.
Yep. So interesting. Now a consultant with the Cleveland Browns. Do you think that's an insurance play for Cleveland?
No.
I kind of do.
No.
I kind of do. You have him there, and if things.
Didn't Stefanski announce this? Would you hire your replacement?
Sure. No.
I don't think so.
But I mean, we don't like. Vrabel announced Jim Schwartz when he was hired here, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't his idea. So that was, like, hey, go get some defensive help, and it turned out to be the right move.
Yeah, I just think it keeps his foot in the pool.
Sure,
I mean, and I don't blame him for that.
But I mean, if you're Cleveland, whether it was an insurance play or not, if you're Cleveland and they start off 0-6, I mean, would you not turn to Mike Vrabel?
No. I
would.
Would you? No.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to play his way into being a GM or something. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know about that. I think he'll be a coach again.
I do too.
Didn't he say he was helping out Luke Fickell as well?
That's right. At Wisconsin.
Yeah. So, like, is he going to double dip, or is that?
I mean, if he's just consulting, then probably.
You could do that, and
that'd be interesting.
Send me tapes, but that is is that a conflict of interest? Maybe.
I know him and Fickell are friends, right?
Yeah, they're best friends.
So then,
like me and you.
Now I can tell you the chatter that's going to start if the Ohio State University doesn't beat Michigan. He won't do it, but I'm telling you that chatter is going to start.
I'm telling you, man. Right now, college coaches that aren't head coaches are looking to the NFL.
I know. Look, I don't think he'll do it.
Right.
But that doesn't stop people like Joe Rexrode from writing articles that it might happen.
Yeah. I mean, if it does, it does. But why do you want that life now?
No.
I mean, it is 365 grind to get these players.
Jason has a quick question on the draft. Jason, what's up?
Hey, guys. With Ridley taking some pressure off that wide receiver room and the Titans signing nobody on the defensive line, do you think they could use that second pick to pick up that defensive lineman from Texas that was blowing up everybody at the Senior Bowl?
That's a good point.
Appreciate the call, Jason. I'm going to say yes. I think that while they still need to get a receiver, and that's why I'm kind of pro trade back from 7 into maybe the 11 slot if Minnesota wants to move up and take a quarterback, get a third-round pick out of that package, and maybe you get the receiver in the third round because I think there'll be some good ones there. The guy out of Florida might be there. But they have to address pass rush and defensive line, and so I could see that being 38.
We just got a note that Andres Pete from the Saints is meeting with the Titans today.
Okay. All right.
According to Ian Rappaport.
Okay.
Rap sheet.
The rap sheet. We'll discuss the Titans and the NFL more with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick. He'll join us next. Chasing Big Joe, presented by Regal Realty Group, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, friends, Big Joe here, and we always talk about medical house calls. I love hearing from everybody who has used medical house calls. I love the experience and the care. All right, here's how it works. One, you're going to give them a phone call because all visits start with a phone call with one of the providers to determine the extent of your needs. Second, you're going to pick your treatment, answer just a few questions. They'll provide you with the best treatment options, home visit, telehealth, or virtual prescription. Third, medical house calls will make you feel better in no time. Their great medical staff will get you up and running. Board-certified nurse practitioners and physician's assistants will guide you the entire way. In fact, Chuck McDowell used medical house calls, so impressed with their service, their commitment, and their care, he went out and bought the company. Yes, just visit the website, medicalhousecalls.com. As I tell you, go to the website, check them out, and then read all the numerous reviews, how they are changing lives every single day. That is medicalhousecalls.com, where the nearest clinic is your home.
Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Monday. Little Toby Keith bringing us back. Titans have been busy in free agency, as have a lot of NFL teams. We say hello now to Jonathan Hutton from Outkick, who joins us on the program. Hut, what's up?
Hey, doing well. Hope things are well on your end, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously been busy for Rand Carthon and company, but what do you think the Titans are getting in Calvin Ridley, as he was pretty honest in his introductory press conference on the money was right here, and it seems like he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after a year in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree just based on the way he came across in the first impression here. If you haven't seen the interview that Mike Keith did with him.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Mike is asking him about who he was 6 years ago compared to now in the pre-draft visit, and he cries. Calvin Ridley does, not Mike. So I'm taken to a spot where I'm hearing, one thing about, well, is he a good guy kind of for the locker room deal? Is the money going to make him more of the player? Is it just going to, continue to be the end game? And then the other side of it is he's motivated, like you're saying, Chase. I get the sense, just again, perception-wise, that he's that guy. Who do they have in Ridley? Well, they now have two legit veteran receivers, and DeAndre Hopkins is the X. And he can be on the outside. He's very good against press coverage. We've seen him do that wherever he's been. Ridley, they can move around a bit, and he can play different spots. He can. He's a very good route runner, as is Hopkins. And now they have set themselves up for what, in my opinion, should be a wide receiver early in this draft. Does it end up being a tackle? I still look at that and think that logically makes the most sense depending on what options they have at 7. But you could have a spot where you don't have the top tackle, you don't have the second best tackle, and what do? Well, there's going to be great receivers that will be falling to them at 7 in that case. They need one more young receiver, Chase, and Ridley now with his contract, knowing that Hopkins is here for one more year, he steps into a role that's going to be extremely beneficial for this offense.
Talking to Jonathan Hutton this morning on the Chase and Big Joe show. All right, so Jonathan, they've addressed a few needs, Cushenberry and the receiver part, but now the focus has to turn to the defensive line because you got Simmons, you got T.K. McClendon. Yep. That's about it, man. And unless you're going to go with 3-4, you're going to need some more big linemen right there. So would that be the next focus for Rand Carthon right now? You think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, they've done a good job, Joe, of the initial surge of free agency on offense. Defensively, I think that they've got to address not just the up front, but on the back end too. They need another starter next to Hooker. They've got to get some guys that can cover on the outside, but don't forget about defensive tackle. I see where you're going there because this is now a league with the quick passing game that is quickly turned into a defensive presence that you get pressure on the quarterback up the middle. And that's because of the quick passing game. But also, I mean, these quarterbacks now, the ball's coming out so fast, it's hard for these edge rushers to get to the QB like they once did. And if you start to look around, teams are now paying more for those interior defensive linemen. Those guys are now getting paid. They've stepped up a scale. They've gone up a shelf. And the Titans in their run defense last year, well, they've lost to Nico Autry. Alshire's gone. They up the middle, they have to add more. And that's a spot that I haven't focused on enough because of the other spots. But now that kind of, bubbles to the top because you're looking at positions where they're not as strong as they were. And you have Simmons, of course, yes. You have McClendon, but they've got to do more in the interior. That's the area I would circle. But again, they have to also go out and do more on the back end of their defense, especially at the corner spot where they're going to invest heavy.
When in NFL free agency, we know teams overspend and they trade for guys and do well. And usually it's like a team, not in the Titans division or in the other league, but Jonathan, the job the Houston Texans have done, good. I mean, they have elevated themselves, I think, into possibly one of the top 6 teams in the league if these guys all pan out like they should do it. So that's probably something else that Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan weren't thinking about, is how well the Texans loaded up during free agency.
I mean, I'm with you, man. They stand out because they have Nick Caserio taking full advantage of C.J. Stroud's rookie contract. And you have some splashy acquisitions to put the team in a position now to where they don't just look like a playoff team; they look like a contender. And I'm saying that based on the way C.J. Stroud has played his rookie year. They lost some key defensive players. I mean, their sack leader was Jonathan Gennard, and they've revamped that group though. You know, they have Danielle Hunter. He had 17 sacks last season. And while they're the surprise team of 2023, I think, Joe, they're going to get the hype that Detroit had last offseason. They're going to be that team, and they look like a team that can handle that type of can you handle the talk? Can you be confident enough to go into a season knowing that you belong? And I see it at quarterback, certainly. I see it at head coach. And I see it with some young players that really gelled around their QB. And now they have the chance to take that next step, climb it. And looking at this division, why not? They're in a spot where they can really, grasp to an AFC spot that I didn't think they'd be this fast to go up and do.
Jonathan Hutton is with us. Do you feel like that it's looking more and more likely that they could potentially move back, especially if a team like Minnesota wants to try and move up and get a quarterback? And the other reason, too, would be you get more draft capital, including potentially moving into the 3rd round, which they currently don't have.
Yep, and they don't have enough draft capital to fill some spots and add some young depth. You know, that's what you're trying to do instead of just load up in free agency. You want to add young depth that you can bring along with your rookie quarterback, and especially knowing what they need on the offensive line, Chase, wide receiver, but beyond that, corner. There are some spots, inside linebacker, there are some spots where they have more questions that need to be answered than they do draft picks to then pair with those players. So I think every year I sit and I think, man, it'd be nice to move back, gain some picks, but where they are at 7, the quarter. There's a lot of talk about McCarthy, a lot of talk about J.J. McCarthy, and he may be the 3rd quarterback selected in the draft. If that's true, where they pick at 7 is going to be a haul for an offer, because you want to get ahead of some of the teams that are picking right behind Tennessee, and you can jump up if you're Minnesota. I'm not saying it's McCarthy; it could be anyone. Jump up if you're Minnesota to get that QB, or Minnesota also may have the draft ammo to go up to number 1 if Chicago wants to do something, but they're not going to now. That was the sentiment last week. Now I think you're looking at number 7 and you circle it, and Rand's probably going to be picking up the phone quite a bit as the draft nears for scenario purposes, because you want to have some idea, some sentiment of what he would want and what it would take if you're a team that's in a quarterback need. Minnesota's there, but Chase, I also say, load up on picks. That's great.
Yeah,
man. If you have the chance to get an elite player in the top 10, it's hard for this year to pass on that player, because elite talent, the Titans don't have many of those guys. And this is a year where you can't miss. They've had to right some wrongs, especially on the O-line. It's a hard year to pass on that unless you're getting quarterback compensation. That's what it would take, nothing more than that, because you want to set yourself up similar to what Houston has done in the past. Certainly what we've seen from the Eagles, who have made some moves. This is one of those years where the Titans are in position to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Hut, appreciate it as always. Enjoy the conversations, and who knows what news we'll be talking about next week. But appreciate it. I
know. It's draft time. You've got the one shining moment that time of year. I can't wait to fill out the bracket here in a couple of hours.
Yep, going to be fun for sure. Have a good one. Yep, Jonathan Hutton from Outkick joining us here on the program. We'll come back with What Day Is It and celebrity birthdays and put a bow on it here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game here on this Monday. Hey, tomorrow is your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night against San Jose, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate with Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow morning at 8:45. Pick to Click is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. List your home with TJ to get your home seen, heard, and sold. Wrapping things up here on a Monday, it is time to get to What Day Is It? And celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen, for today's What Day Is It? We have National Oatmeal Cookie Day.
Nice.
I love oatmeal cookies.
I can't complain. Oatmeal cookies are probably the best thing that I've eaten in a while. We're going to go with National Sloppy Joe Day.
It's a good day, too.
Yep, I know. It's a pretty daggum good day. Where in the world?
Do you eat Sloppy Joes, too, in addition to eating oatmeal cookies?
No, that's a bad combo. That is a bad combo, Joseph.
Watch what you eat.
You're right. We also have Biodiesel Day.
Is that any? Can you turn the music down just a tad?
You got it. Yes, sir. Yep.
Can you, biodiesel, is that kin to Vin Diesel?
It can be. Oh, boy. We're just going to keep going. We also have National Welderly Day, which is
can't stand you
the wellness of elderly people.
Yeah, we got to take care of them.
Yep.
I thought it has something to do with welders.
Because I'm almost there.
That, too. We also have National Awkward Moment Day.
Kind of like this one.
How fitting. How fitting, yes. National Act Happy Day, and then the last two we have is Dribble to Work Day and Forgive Mom and Dad Day. So
dribble to work?
Like there's a basketball and someone's dribbling to work.
Okay. I had another meaning for that. Okay. All right, time for celebrity birthday. Dr. Crane, as always, thank you for that. Time for celebrity.
You're welcome. I will have to say a little quick shout out to family friend Katie, is a loyal listener to the show.
Okay.
Loves all the programming here and loves celebrity birthdays.
Do you ever call her Katie Bug?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not it. Nope.
Perhaps you should. All right, time for celebrity birthdays. Here we go. Got to get them within 2 years. First birthday today is the beautiful, talented Vanessa Williams.
Ooh. 47.
53.
61.
Really? Holy crap.
The equally as talented Queen Latifah.
59.
67.
54. You think of the wrong queen there, Doctor.
Yeah, there are a lot of queens out there.
Comedian Dane Cook. What movie is this from? Come on, Dane Cook. Pay-per-view. 20 minutes. You know what movie?
I don't remember.
Step Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Dane Cook.
49.
Oh, 54.
52. Good job, Dr. Crane.
Thank you.
The most handsome, Adam Levine. How old is he? From Maroon 5.
48.
Ooh, 39.
45. Chaser, you're on the outside knocking in, man. You got to get in there. Let's go more here. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Mike Rowe, TV personality Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs.
52.
I love that show as a kid. I'm going to go 61.
62. Dr.
Nice.
Crane's up 2-0. The lead singer of Little Big Town, Philip Sweet, or one of the singers. I don't know which one he is, but he's in the band.
Thought it was the lady with the big hair.
I think he's married. No. I don't know. No.
50.
56.
50 exactly. So we started something new now. You get 2 points if you can get the year. So
Okay.
well done.
Oh,
So you've been
if we get
listening
it
to
right?
Derek and
So now
Caroline.
it's 2-2.
Nice.
2-2.
All right. You've added a rule.
If you got it, you got on top of that. It's 2-2. So well done. Now we're tied at 2. So you guys are great. Olympic speed skater Bonnie Blair.
64.
63.
60. So close there. All right, we're tied at 2-2. The next one's going to bring home the title on this Monday. Lead guitar player of Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell. How old is Jerry Cantrell for the win?
61.
58.
58 exactly.
Nice.
How about
Good
it?
job, Dr. Crane.
Dr.
you.
Crane wins 4-2. Well done. Celebrity Birthdays brought to you by possibly you.
Email us together at cromwellmedia.com.
As we leave the show this morning, thanks for all the interaction. And to our guys out there, listen, we tell you if you're struggling, know that we love you. 988 on your cell phone call. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to talk to us, you can find us on social media. We'll talk to you anytime, any place to let you know that we love you and that this world is a better place because you are here. Please know that.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mase coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.